is one of your favorite things about working at the Yuma Union High School District?
So my background, it wasn't to teach. I came from a background with biomedicine, and I joined Teach for America. And one of the things that really got me invested in teaching is the idea that we want to pursue equity for all students. And I believe and I feel and I see that the district is really invested in providing that equity for all of our students, no matter their background, no matter their education that they're coming from, their financial needs. We want to provide that equity, and this district is really invested in that through personalized learning, through the standard-based grade philosophy, and then giving their teachers those professional development opportunities to grow so that they can take those skills and implement them in their classroom. I think that's one of the most powerful things that we have to offer here at our district.
I know that your teachers who teach at some of the higher level courses, they've all chosen to teach one Math 100, which is your freshman year course. What has that done for you as a department?
Yeah, so in our department, we tend to have teachers, and we're very lucky here at Cibola that we have a lot of veteran teachers that maybe they started off in Math 100 and then they moved to Math 201 and then they went to financial algebra. So they've experienced the wide scope of standards and skills that we have to teach here. So that gives them the ability and opportunity to have those conversations that maybe this year I'm teaching math analysis, but I know that in Math 100, this is the skill that is really essential for them to be successful the following year and the year before. So that vertical alignment is really powerful for us to be able to go back and look at, okay, what is the content that we want to make sure, the essential standards that we want these students to achieve by the end of the year, because we know by next year they have to have those essential standards for them to have the ability to be successful, and then for that to be a trajectory on not just here at Cibola, but in future, especially if they're going into a STEM career. We want them to have those skills, those essential skills, and take them on to their future career. So having those conversations and having the personnel that has those experiences makes it really powerful, because it allows us to minimize those gaps that sometimes students come in from one year to another. And then by having those conversations, we can not only fill those gaps, but we can go above those gaps and have them be ready for the next course to come.
Okay. So if we got real granular, so let's say what one concept that's really very common in mathematics is, let's say, dividing quotients, for example, or when we already just stacking polynomials, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We know that there's a certain way that looks in Math 100. We know that there's a certain way that looks in math analysis. We know that there's a certain way that looks even in calculus.
Yeah.
How do you, as a math department, spend time talking about that, not only in your schools, but across the district?
Yeah, so what's nice about the district is that there's been a scheme of work that has been created, and it hasn't been created by just these 2-3 people. They've been created by multiple people that have had the experience of, like, okay, we're looking at the Arizona standards, and then we're looking at our Cambridge standards, and we want to make sure that we're hitting our Cambridge standards that align to the Arizona standards. So what we do is we use that scheme of work to drive our instruction so that it allows us to know, okay, this is the depth that we want to go to in Math 100. And then that scheme of work dictates in depth how much we're going to cover the following year. So it gives us that pathway, which has been created, and allows us to just focus more of our attention on how to teach it, not what to teach.
And when you notice gaps, I'm sure there's a time when you do.
Yeah.
When you notice gaps, what does that allow you to then do? What types of conversations ensue?
So when we are noticing the gaps, we are able to differentiate for those students. We're able to remediate those skills that, whether it's large scale or small scale, we're able to go back into, let's say that we're in Math 201, we're able to go back into our Math 100 teachers and say, hey, what was the struggle with Johnny? What happened here? Or, hey, hey, did you cover this unit? What were the struggles that you noticed in wide scale based on the data that you were getting from these formative assessments? Because the key is we all want to make sure that we're assessing the same thing, using that data to remediate the following year or even immediately. So the key is to be able to differentiate, but in order to differentiate, we have to be able to analyze the data that we're getting from these assessments.